You are not stuck because you are lazy. You are not stuck because you were not born with the right connections, the right family, the right zip code, the right face, the right start. You are not stuck because the economy is broken, or because the timing has never been right, or because life has been harder on you than it has been on other people. Some of that may be true, but that is not why you are stuck. You are stuck because of something so small, so invisible, so deeply woven into the way you think and feel and move through your days that you have never once stopped to question it. And today, right here, in the next few minutes, that changes. Because once you see this thing, you cannot unsee it. And once you cannot unsee it, the stuck begins to loosen. Not all at once, but for real, for good. Let me tell you about a man named Daniel. Daniel was 34 years old, living in a one-bedroom apartment he had been meaning to leave for 6 years. He had a job that paid him just enough to not be desperate. He had ideas, good ones, the kind that wake you up at 3 in the morning, fully formed and electric. He had a notebook with 47 pages of plans, business ideas, things he wanted to build, a life he could see so clearly in his mind it felt almost like a memory. He was not unintelligent. People who knew him called him one of the smartest people they had ever met. He could explain any concept, break down any problem, see through any situation with a clarity that made other people feel like they were thinking in fog. And yet, 6 years, same apartment, same job, same 47 pages, nothing moved. Not because Daniel did not try. He tried constantly. He would start something with a fire that felt different this time, like this was finally the moment, like everything before had just been preparation for this specific beginning. And then, somewhere between the beginning and the part where it gets hard and uncertain and slow, something would happen. Not a dramatic failure, not a catastrophic event, just a quiet fading. A gradual cooling, a return to the comfortable numbness of the life he had been meaning to leave. Daniel is not a cautionary tale. Daniel is not someone to pity. Daniel is the 99%. And there is a version of Daniel in almost every person watching this right now. If you see yourself in any part of what I just described, if something in that story pressed on something real inside you, I want you to stop for 1 second and drop the word Daniel in the comments right now. Just that word. Because I want to see how many of us are in that apartment, how many of us have the notebook, how many of us have felt that fire and watched it cool without ever understanding why. Now let me tell you what is actually happening. And I mean what is actually happening, not the surface explanation, not the productivity guru version, not the just wake up at 5 a.m. answer. The real thing. There is a part of your mind, the deeper part, the older part, the part that was formed before you had language to make sense of your experiences, that is running a program. And that program was written a long time ago. It was written in the moments when you were young and uncertain and trying to understand what kind of world you had arrived in and what kind of person you were going to have to be to survive it. Every disappointment added a line of code. Every time someone told you no, or laughed, or looked at you like your dreams were adorable and small, another line. Every time you tried something and it did not work, another line. Every time someone you trusted showed you, not with words but with their actions, that people like you do not get to have certain things, another line. And now that program runs automatically, below the surface. Below the conscious wanting and the vision boards and the YouTube videos about discipline. Below all of it. And it does one thing with extraordinary efficiency. It keeps you at the level it was programmed to believe you belong at. This is not poetic language. This is not a metaphor. This is the actual mechanics of how the subconscious mind operates. It does not respond to what you want. It responds to what it believes is true about you and what you deserve. And if those two things are not aligned, if you want something at the surface level but carry a deep program that says that is not for someone like you, then you will stay stuck no matter how hard you push, because you cannot outmuscle your own operating system. You can only learn to rewrite it. Think about the woman who has lost the same 30 pounds 4 separate times. She knows what to eat. She knows how to move. She has the plan, the app, the accountability partner. She has done it before. She knows she can do it because she already has. And yet, every single time, somewhere between the beginning and the life she is building toward, she finds her way back. Not because she is weak, not because she does not want it badly enough, but because somewhere in the program, in the deep, quiet code she has never examined, is a line that says, "This is not what safe feels like for you. This is not the body you were given permission to live in." And the subconscious mind will always, always choose what feels familiar over what feels desired. Always. So here is the first real thing I need you to understand. Comfort is not the enemy of your dreams, fear disguised as comfort is. Because comfort itself is neutral. Rest is good, ease is good, peace is good. But when your nervous system has learned to find comfort specifically in the absence of risk, specifically in the shrinking away from the thing you most want, that is not comfort anymore. That is a cage that has learned to feel like a home. And the cruelest part of all of this is that the cage is invisible. You cannot see it. You can only feel it as a vague heaviness when you think about the thing you want. As an inexplicable exhaustion that arrives precisely when it is time to begin. As 100 perfectly reasonable explanations for why today is not the right day. The timing, the money, the energy, the circumstances. The mind is extraordinarily creative when it comes to building logical cases for staying exactly where it has decided it is safe. I want you to pause this video right now if you need to. And I want you to think of one dream, just one, that you have been explaining away for longer than a year. You know the one. It comes to you sometimes at night. It visits you when you see someone else living the version of it. And every time it comes, you greet it with a list of reasons why not yet. Tell me that dream in the comments. You do not have to be specific if you are not comfortable. But name the category: business, relationship, creative work, health, freedom, whatever it is, name it. Because the act of naming it outside of your own head is itself a small act of rebellion against the program. Now let me tell you the thing that separates the 1% from everyone else. And I want to be careful here because it is not what people expect it to be. It is not discipline. It is not waking up earlier or working harder or being more consistent. Those things matter, but they are downstream of the real thing. The real difference is this. The 1% have somehow, through experience or guidance or a moment of grace, come to believe at a deep level that they are allowed to have what they want. That is it. That is the whole secret that the productivity industry has built a billion-dollar business around, never quite saying directly. They believe they are allowed. They do not carry the quiet guilt of wanting too much. They do not brace for the punishment that feels like it should follow any moment of real success. They receive, they allow, they do not flinch when good things arrive. And the 99% spend their lives doing everything right on the outside while carrying that flinch on the inside. Imagine a person who finally gets the thing, the promotion, the relationship, the opportunity, the moment they have been working toward. And instead of settling into it, instead of receiving it with open hands, they immediately begin to wait for it to be taken away. They work twice as hard, but with half the presence because some part of them is already in the grief of losing it. They become more anxious as things get better, not less, because their nervous system has never been shown that good things stay, that they are safe to have, that this is not a mistake the universe is about to correct. And slowly, quietly, with no dramatic villain and no single catastrophic choice, they begin to make small decisions that confirm the story. They push the person away. They underperform right when it matters. They self-sabotage so naturally, so organically, that they genuinely believe it was circumstances, and not the deepest part of themselves, protecting a belief system it was never asked to question. This is the mechanism. This is why 99% stay stuck. Not because they lack information, not because they lack talent, not because the world is unfair, though sometimes it is, but because there is a gap between what they want and what they believe they deserve. And that gap swallows everything. So what do you do? What is the actual practical movement from here? The first thing, and this is not small, so I need you to receive it as the significant thing it is that you stop trying to change your behavior before you change your identity. This is where almost everyone gets it wrong. They try to do the things that a successful person does while still feeling, at the root level, like someone who is not yet that person. And the mind resists this, because the mind is always trying to maintain consistency between who it believes you are and how you act. So when you act outside of your identity, the mind creates friction, excuses, resistance, fatigue. Not because you are weak, because the mind is doing its job. Its job is consistency. Your job is to change what it is being consistent with. So you begin, and this is the practice. This is the daily, unsexy, quiet work. You begin to practice feeling like the person who already has it. Not imagining it like a fantasy. Feeling it. In your body. In the specific way your shoulders would sit if you were not carrying the weight of trying to get there. In the specific quality of breath you would have if you were not bracing for the next disappointment. You build that feeling in small moments. Before you open your laptop, at the start of a phone call, in the 30 seconds before you walk into a room. You ask yourself, how would the version of me who has already figured this out carry themselves right now? And then you let your body answer before your mind can argue. This is not pretending. This is not fake it until you make it. This is something far more precise. This is speaking directly to the subconscious in the only language it fluently understands. Feeling. Because the subconscious does not process language. It processes emotional signal. And when you change the emotional signal, you are broadcasting from the frequency of lack and waiting, and not yet, to the frequency of settled certainty and allowed and already coming. The program begins to rewrite. Slowly, then faster than you expect. There is someone watching this right now who has tried everything I have not said yet, every system, every framework, every accountability structure, every new approach that felt like this time would be different, and nothing has stuck. Not because those things do not work, but because they were all aimed at the behavior without touching the belief underneath the behavior. You cannot change the fruit without changing the root. And the root is always the story you carry about who you are and what you are allowed to have, and what happens to people like you when they want too big. That story is not the truth. It is a program, and programs can be rewritten. The second thing, and this one is going to feel counterintuitive, is that you have to let go of the how, not the goal, not the wanting, not the commitment, but the rigid, anxious, controlling grip on exactly how it is supposed to arrive. Because that grip, that white-knuckled need to know the exact path before you take the first step, is one of the most effective ways the fear keeps you stationary while making you feel like you are being responsible. The 1% are not people who had a perfect plan. They are people who had a clear direction and were willing to move into uncertainty. They were willing to not know the middle of the story while being absolutely certain about the end. And they were willing to let the path reveal itself step by step rather than demanding the entire map before they left the house. Think about every important thing that has ever happened in your life. How much of it arrived exactly the way you planned? How much of it came from a direction you never anticipated? How much of the best of what you have was something you could not have planned for because you did not even know to want it in the form it arrived in? The universe, or life, or whatever name you give to the thing larger than your individual plans, is not limited by your imagination, but it can only deliver through an open hand. A clenched fist receives nothing. So the practice of letting go is not spiritual laziness. It is not naive optimism. It is the advanced understanding that your job is direction and the first step, not the entire choreography. Here is what I want you to do right now. And I mean right now, before this video ends, before the next thing pulls your attention. I want you to write in the comments the one story you are ready to stop telling about yourself. Not the new story yet, just the one you are done with. Because naming what you are leaving behind is just as powerful as naming where you are going. Maybe more. The one belief, the one sentence, the one quiet assumption that has been running your life without your permission. Write it down, put it out of your head and into the world. Because what lives only in your mind has the power of a secret. What you name out loud begins to lose that power immediately. And the final thing, the thing I want to leave you with, is this. The 99% are not a fixed population. People leave it every day, quietly, without announcement, without a dramatic transformation moment. They leave it by making one different choice in one small moment and then making it again the next day and the day after that. They leave it by deciding, not announcing, not declaring, not posting about it, just deciding, privately and completely, that the story they have been living is not the only story available to them. You can leave it today. Not by having everything figured out, not by feeling ready, because you will not feel ready, not really, not in the way you are waiting to feel, but by understanding that the readiness does not come before the beginning. It comes from the beginning, every single time. The gap between the 99% and the 1% is not talent. It is not luck. It is not timing. It is a decision that gets made below the surface, in the quiet, in the part of you that nobody else can access or change or give you. The decision that says, I am allowed. I am the kind of person this happens for. I do not need to earn the right to want what I want. I am already enough to begin. Make that decision today, not when you feel it fully, not when the doubt is gone, now. Incomplete and uncertain, and slightly terrified and beginning anyway. If something in this video moved something real in you, leave a comment. Tell me what shifted. Tell me what you are walking away with. Tell me the story you are done telling. I read every single one, and they matter more than you know. And if you are not subscribed yet, this is what this channel does every single week. Not surface advice, not noise. The real conversation about why people stay stuck and what actually moves them forward. Subscribe and come back. Because what is coming next, what we are going to get into next week, is about the specific invisible pattern that keeps attracting the same situation into your life in different disguises. The same type of person, the same type of setback, the same type of almost. If you have ever felt like you are cursed, like something keeps resetting your progress, like you are running on a treadmill that looks like a road, next week is going to explain something to you that you have needed to hear for a very long time. Do not miss it. And before you go, I need to say one more thing. Not as a closer, not as a formality, as something I genuinely mean. You just spent real time with an idea that most people will never sit with long enough to let it land. Most people will scroll past it. Most people will hear the first 30 seconds, feel slightly uncomfortable, and find something easier to watch. You did not do that. You stayed. And that already tells me something about you that you might not be giving yourself credit for. The person who stays is not the same as the person who scrolls. Remember that. Now, here is what I want you to do before this tab closes, before the next thing pulls you away. Before the momentum of this moment gets absorbed back into the noise of the day, go to the comments and write one sentence. Just one. The one thing you are taking with you from this video, not what you plan to do someday, what you are carrying with you right now, today, into the next hour of your life. One sentence, that is all. Because the people who write it, the people who make it real outside of their own heads, are the ones who actually change. I have seen it happen too many times to believe otherwise. This channel uploads every single day. Every day there is something new here. Not recycled advice with a different thumbnail. Not the same 10 tips repackaged in a new format. Something real. Something that works on you the way this one did. Something that finds the part of you that has been waiting to be found and speaks directly to it. Every single day. So if today felt like something, if something in this video pressed on a place that needed pressing, subscribe. Turn the notification on. Because tomorrow there will be something here that you will want to have seen. And the day after that, and the day after that. This is not a channel you visit once and move on from. This is a place you return to, a place that keeps giving you language for the things you have been feeling but could not quite name. And one more thing, think of one person, just one, who is brilliant and aware and capable and completely, utterly stuck. Someone who knows better but cannot seem to move. Someone who has the potential and is somehow not living anywhere near it yet. Send them this video tonight, not with a long message, not with an explanation. Just send it, because sometimes the most loving thing one person can do for another is put the right words in front of them at the right moment. You might not even know how much they needed it, but they will. You came here today looking for something. Maybe you knew what it was. Maybe you just felt pulled without knowing why. Either way, you found something real. Do not let it fade into the background of a busy week. The version of you that this video was speaking to, the one underneath the noise, underneath the waiting, underneath the story that has been running too long. That version is not a future possibility. That version is already you. It has always been you. It was just waiting for you to stop arguing with it. Come back tomorrow. There is more.